morning, my friends, neighbors, love bugs, whatever you want to call yourselves. It's nice to have you here. I've got my coffee. You know why I'm always excited to talk to you guys? Because you're the first people I'm talking to most days, because I do shoot these videos early. I guess except today, I did have to go down to Tyler and be like, did you take the garbage out? But other than that, I've said nothing this morning, so good morning. Sometimes I sit down to do a favorites video and I'm like, oh, I've got so many things to talk about. Here, I don't really feel like I do. I've got a very pared down, just a real edited down list of things. I feel like I've done quite a few videos this month that involved hits and misses. I do have one miss that hasn't been mentioned anywhere else that I need to talk about in this video. But yeah, I've kind of got this newfound desire to keep the favorites really pared down to just the favorites. Like really forcing myself to choose the best of the best, not just inviting everyone in to be a favorite. You know what I mean? So concealer wise, I know I've talked a lot about the Tarte concealer, like kind of running my world lately. Really enjoy that stuff. It's got a great texture. I just love it on the under eye area. It's amazing coverage. But what cannot be denied from the past month that I have sort of uncovered and started using a lot is the Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer. I love this shade light beige. It works so well on me. I will link below to the video where I was putting this on and kind of reviewing it for you, but I feel like there is a slight satiny finish to this product. It doesn't go on the skin looking 100% matte. I can't call it super dewy or even shimmery or anything like that, but there's just a little sheen that goes across the skin when I apply this. I've worn it on and off in videos. I go back and edit and I'm like, man, that looks good. And then I've gone through different just life experiences where I've had this on and we went to a concert and I was sweating and I was like, man, by the end of the night, this still looked good. And it's just proven itself a lot to me. And while I love that Tarte, that is a very rich texture, almost a little sticky on the skin. It's something I love on the under eye, but I don't necessarily like to throw that on a lot of different areas of my face just because I don't feel like it's the best texture for everywhere. This one can kind of go everywhere. And I've even gotten great looks just like slapping this on the under eye and around the nose and then popping on like some mineral makeup over the top of everything else, which is what I did today. Another thing that I feel like I've mentioned a lot lately, just a general foundation if you need a recommendation here, the CoverGirl True Blend Matte Made. This has awesome staying power too, and I like those two together. But all I've got on my skin coverage wise today is this and this, my Bare Minerals Original, which I know I talked about my Bare Minerals before. I have recently fallen back in love with Bare Minerals. I think it's a great product. I think it looks gorgeous on the skin. It's incredibly lightweight. And by me mentioning this in conjunction with the concealer, don't think like, oh, this doesn't look just great on its own, because it does. And I have a whole full coverage, powder only, Bare Minerals only tutorial that I hope you'll check out because it did really impressive things on my skin. But I have been using this with an even larger buffing brush, this Koki one that I got from Walmart. And so I get a little bit of product on there and just buff it into the skin. And I mean, the finish on my skin, hard to argue with that. Why do I feel like I always have to sum things up? I always have to give like the little final story here, but I think if you're really dry on your under eye area, if you feel like texture is a big problem on your under eyes, the Tarte Maracuja like just is very nourishing. It gives back to the skin. It has great coverage. I really love it. I'm not abandoning this. I still use this interchangeably with this, which I don't think will do the most favors for skin that has a lot of texture on it, because it just does have the satiny finish that seems to catch the light in sort of an unusual way for a concealer, in my opinion. But by the time I've set it, put a little powder on top of it, I'm really thrilled with the finished look. Whether that's just a light bit of any pressed powder or loose powder that you may have, or really deliberately buffing all over your skin with a mineral powder like I did today, the finished look is so nice. So I can't argue with this. This, with its consistency not being as thick and sticky as this one, which you definitely want to set this to, but I feel like I can get away with just putting it different places on my skin and not being worried that I've put on too much thickness. I hope that all makes sense. Here's another powder that I've decided is just really stinking good. It's the IT Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Plus Airbrush Perfecting Powder. If the name wasn't so long, literally it is such a long name, and then they call their mascara Superhero. But it says Sheer to Full Coverage Finishing Veil, SPF 50+, and I have realized that this product is really in it to win it. It's odd because you touch it, it feels powdery, then you touch between your fingers, it feels practically creamy. I feel that it's very mattifying and it is a major coverage enhancer. If you're not really interested in mineral makeup, bare minerals, whatever, and you're looking for just sort of a standard set your face, make up for any of the shortcomings of the other products you've put on, if you're feeling like your foundation or your BB cream or your concealer or whatever wasn't quite enough, you can layer this on to different levels and it is actually kind of a buildable product. To me, I don't know that this actually goes to full coverage, but it can be sheer, it can be light, it can be medium coverage, I'd say. But it's really cool in that sense. And for me, if you're wondering, well, how does this fit into your routine? How do you make the decision to use that, let's say, instead of this? Well, the Bare Minerals Original Foundation is more of like a luminous finish product on the skin, I feel. Like, do you see how my skin kind of all over has a little bit of a sheen? It's not like there's shimmer in this, but it gives a very natural skin-like appearance. And this, I feel, is more on the mattifying end of things. This is nice to pick up on those days where maybe I know I'm gonna be outside a lot. I don't mind having that extra SPF. And it just has a really good mattifying, perfecting effect on the skin. Perfecting effect. Also, I meant to give a little mention to this guy here, this L'Oreal True Match Mineral, because I said I picked it up, I wanted to compare it to my Bare Minerals. I like this as a product. I think this looks good on the skin. I like the coverage that's in it. And while the included brush here is nice, it's harder to control like the flow of product out of here. You know what I mean? Whereas with Bare Minerals, you're gonna have this empty cap that you can shake stuff into. Here, it's like some product shakes up there, sometimes it's more than you want. It can be a little tricky to confine this brush to only what you want and really get it up in the brush, get the brush nicely coated with product without picking up sometimes more than you need. And I think one key to Bare Minerals application, if you watch that video that I did, is like little by little build up on the skin. And so this is a bit harder to manage, although you could really help yourself with that, I guess, by just coming up with a cap off of anything, and that would help you control the amount of product you're picking up with your brush. I just came up with a little hack there, no big deal. I don't have any excuses for my behavior today. I am well rested, I'm feeling good. Blushes. Yes, I have 2 blushes to talk about. I've talked about this probably many times before over the life of my channel, but do you feel like you go through phases where this certain step of makeup is really appealing to you, or this thing or that thing? Like not just an individual product, but like a whole part of the makeup routine. Sometimes it'll be eyeshadows, like you're just obsessed with trying every kind of eyeshadow, or sometimes it's lip gloss or whatever. I feel like I'm coming into that place with blush right now. I like putting on all the makeup, but blush is really fun and it's just like transformative. Don't you feel that way? Like blush is not hard to do. You don't need a complex like description of how to do blush. You just pop it on the cheeks and you're good and you look alive and you look fresh and healthy. What other part of your makeup step can you in an instant get that effect with? Like you can make yourself look more alive and nice and fresh and whatever with foundation, but let's face it, that takes some work and some blending. Blush is just like boop, slap it on, instantly more satisfied with the way I look. So I've got 2 blushes that I need to give a shout out to today. One is from Thrive. This was my favorite Thrive product. I still think you should go watch my Thrive video. There's a lot of good information to know about the brand, but I think their blush is the most outstanding thing they do. I really like their bronzer too, but this is the multi-dimensional strobing blush in the shade Rosy. This is a blush that's a pretty fresh pink and it's kind of speckled, champagne colors, even a few little bronzy tones in there. And I'm wearing this today as my blush. However, it's also kind of looking like I have highlight on. Wouldn't you assume I put highlight on today? Nope. It's this, because you just pop it on your cheeks and it picks up so much glow, but it's still got a very pinky color to it and I love it. It is so like instant. And I've tried something from the drugstore that's really similar to this. The shade is not quite exactly the same. It's the Revolution Renaissance Illuminate in Radiant and Rose, and I think this is the only sort of blush tone compact that they have, because I think I saw in a picture there's some that are more bronzy or golden. This is the only one really looking like a blush. looking like a snack. But this has a similar effect on the skin where you focus your brush in on these blushy tones and you put them on and you feel like, is there even any need to highlight? Like you can go over the top and add in some of this, but it's very similar to the Thrive thing in effect. And even if you don't care to get either of these products, maybe you've got like a blush drawer that you haven't really looked through lately, look for any blush that has a lot of luminosity to it and pop it on and appreciate how great that looks, like just right in here on the apple of your cheek and upward, and it looks like you've put on a freaking highlight. I want to put on just a little bit more of the Thrive for you because this is what I'm wearing already today. But see how it's kind of pinky. This has a little more potent pink color than the Makeup Revolution. Makeup Revolution is like a soft rosiness. It's got all the same glow as this, just a little softer color payoff out of the blush. And you can probably tell that just by looking at it. This is more of a pinky pink. This is more of a soft muted rose. Good products. Love that. They are totally inspiring me to go back into my stash. Do you want a video on the best glowy blushes that can double as highlights? Ding, ding, ding. I love when video ideas just kind of come like that. I've got to put it in my notes because if I don't put it in notes, I will forget it. Anybody else that way? Friends, there's not much more to talk about. I've got 2 lip products and 1 dud. It's always good before you do a favorites video to look in your bag and see what's been living there and you're like, oh yeah, I apply this literally every time I leave the house. The thing of that nature for me right now is my Makeup Geek Iconic Lipstick in Shy. Love a skinny tube. Love a skinny tube lipstick. That reminds me, I need to get out my Revlon Ultra HDs sometime. I haven't used those in a while. But the reason why I've creeped in on you a little bit closer is because I am wearing that lipstick today. It's creamy, it's smooth, it's 100% full color. It's a beautiful experience to put on. I really like that line of lipstick. But I have to tell you about this other thing. This was a sample. Did I get it in a play bag from Sephora, or was this like some kind of perk that I specifically selected? I can't remember, but what I do know is that this is available in a great big normal size, and this is the Buxom lip polish in the shade Celeste. Where has this been? I mean, I'm sure some of you love this. This has probably been around a long time. This is classic lip gloss. Classic lip gloss with just the right amount of a little bit of kind of interesting shimmer that looks pretty over the top of literally anything. And you have that cooling sensation that Buxom glosses give you where you think maybe my lips are getting plumper or maybe they're just looking really nicely smoothed out. I would tend to go for the latter mindset there, but that's what it looks like. See how it's a hint of color, but it's mostly sheer, but it's next level shiny because of the itty bitty fine like sparkle in here. Let me just hold it up really close. Talk about a sample that did its job. You know, I'm gonna like use this thing up. I'm gonna order a full size. I love that gloss. Generally speaking, I love a full colored, like really opaque gloss. I like colorful glosses with that lacquer kind of look on the lips. But even wearing this alone, I thought it was pretty. But since first discovering it, I've just been wanting to put this on top of everything. Every cream lipstick, every matte lipstick, just a little glaze of this. I've got it on today. Next level shine, because the shine also contains the shimmer. I'm not gonna sing the Shimmer and Shine theme song, but that's awesome. And then I promised you a dud in this video. I feel like I've mentioned a lot of duds lately because there've just been several review style kind of hit and miss videos. I mean, I've had lip products I didn't really love. I've had things from like different brands that I've tried, like Flesh. I had some things I didn't really like there. So if you want to get your daily dose of duds, maybe check out some past videos. But this Morphe eyelid primer, translucent. I really liked this starting out, and I've still got a lot of product in the tube. And I've been using it pretty consistently. I've used this product a lot. And in the past couple weeks, when I squeeze some out, it's like separated. I get pure liquid, and so I've massaged the tube. I've done pretty much everything I can do to try to like change the, what's that, not compensation, change the, not configuration, composition, change the way the product is all mixing together in the tube, and it still doesn't make a difference. It's gonna squeeze out with a bunch of liquid, and then I eventually get a little bit of like beigey, sort of broken up, oily looking cream. And that ticks me off because it's not like I've just been sitting this on the shelf unused. I've been using it and using it and using it, and suddenly it decided to be that way. I broke up with Too Faced Shadow Insurance a long time ago over this same reason. But you know what has never done that to me? this, it doesn't separate. It stays the same consistency until you have squeezed that tube dry. It ends up coming out the same. Say what you want about Milani eyeshadow primer, but it stays one consistency that does not get all broken up, greasy, nasty, oily, bad. I'm sorry I ever abandoned you. We're getting back together. It's fine. Anyway, friends, that's my best in beauty for the month of July. I know it's coming a little bit late, but I just had some other videos I wanted to squeeze in there ahead of it. So thank you so much for watching. I love you. I thank you for being part of this family we have here, and have a great day. Bye, guys.